So there are people who don't like Drake. Understandably, not everybody is going to like him. But there are some things people say Drake makes too much music, he needs to take a break. But people forget that between 2011 and 2013, Drake hadn't released a project really. He did drop a few singles here and there, and he did also have between 2013 and between 2015, Drake didn't have any project out. He dropped a few singles, a few tracks here and there. A few tracks also were leftovers from his projects. And he also had Trophies, which was a track off of the collaboration Young Money. The Young Money tape, the Young Money album or tape, whatever it was. So basically Drake between 2013 and 2015 did not have any project, a few singles here, a few features here and there, and that's why people tend to remember. And I think people forget that the reason why Drake is so in your face isn't exactly because he's making all that much music, though you can say recently he's been making a lot of music. But the reason he's in your face is because he does a lot of features. A lot of people want him on their songs. He wants to be on a lot of people's songs. So features is one thing. Between 2013 to 2015, there were no Drake projects. Now, if you're to say between last year and this year, we've had, If You're Reading This, It's Too Late, What a Time to Be Alive, and also Views. And there's going to be another project, More Life. Now, if you don't like the projects, you can simply not listen to them. I'm a fan of Drake. I'm a fan of the idea of Drake. I'm a fan of Drake. I like a lot of his work. I don't like everything. And if you've watched my review of the 4 tracks on my other channel, on my music channel, where I discuss these 4 tracks, I liked Two Birds, One Stone. Wanna Know, I think, was okay. The one with 21 Savage was meh. And, Fake Love. Fake Love is a decent track. It's going to do well on the radio. Am I going head over heels for it? Am I listening to it all the time? No. But it's a decent track. Can't take that away from him. So as for putting out too much project, if you don't like Drake, obviously that's going to be a problem for you. And I can't see why you can't just go and listen to another artist. These people come out and they bash artists that they don't like. Like, I don't like 21 Savage. I don't bash him. I just say I don't like his music. I don't bash him or attack him personally. I'm not going to say his music is trash. It's just not for me. That's not saying I don't like trap music or I don't like, street music. It's just saying I don't find his particular sound. I don't think he does anything to the sound. He just mumbles over beats, in my opinion. That's my opinion. But I won't go out of my way to meet a bunch of 21 Savage fans and start bashing their opinion or start bashing him because I feel like, 21 Savage is a bad artist. No, that's being a dick. Like, if you don't like an artist, there's so many artists now. Just because an artist is not for you does not mean that that artist is trash. With riding waves, a lot of people say Drake just rides waves, that he uses artists and then he dumps artists. They've referenced how he's now on this Caribbean wave. I think Drake just likes music like anybody else. It's just that he has a bigger platform, so you can tell when he likes newer music. It's like me. At one stage, I was a huge Akon fan. I grew out of Akon, and now I like Drake. Maybe, perhaps in the future, I will grow out of Drake and move on to another artist. People's taste changes as they move on. Moving on to the next thing that people accuse Drake of is that he doesn't support OVO artists enough, which I find completely ludicrous, because he goes with the artists that he likes, he signs them, he makes music with them, and obviously you can't always make music with an artist that you sign or with an artist that you like, because eventually people are going to associate that artist with you. No artist wants to be known as, oh, the guy that's always on a Drake track, or the guy that Drake always features. Everybody wants to go out and make their own music. Same thing with Party Next Door or with Division or with Majid Jordan. Yeah, a Drake feature is nice, but at the end of the day, you don't want to be known as the artist that is just under Drake. You want to be known as Party Next Door the artist, or Majid Jordan the artist, or whatever. That is understandable, and Drake does not need to baby his artist or always be with his artist and be like, okay, I need to be on this guy, I need to be promoting this, I need to be doing that. He put in place a label The label should handle that. He doesn't necessarily need to handle that personally. And the artists themselves should be able to market themselves and also should be able to create content that people will like. So basically what I'm saying is Drake has artists on his label. Drake sees artists that he likes. He hops on a song. If the artist then becomes trash, it's not his fault. You can't expect him to keep making features with people in an attempt to make their careers take off. And then the final thing is about, the ghostwriting thing, which I will concede to a bit. Now, will I say that Drake has never really come out and said he does everything? And you would have to be a bit foolish to think every single artist or every rap artist writes down and everything they say is completely 100% original. You'd be very stupid to believe that. Every single artist has somebody who they take one word, two words, or influence or whatever. Nobody comes out as a completely original and unique artist and comes out with a completely unique sound that is independent of everybody else. No artist. People talk about Kid Cudi, how he influenced a generation. Kid Cudi had his sound, but that sound wasn't 100% his. He had his producers. He had people who worked on the music with him. He had people like Kanye and so on and so forth. People get influenced. That's a perfectly natural thing. But going on to actually ghostwriting, do I think that Drake is a fraud? No. Do I think that occasionally he may have one or two people who, write a couple of lines for his verse, or people might have song ideas that they might not utilize and he'll be like, okay, give me that song. I will use your flow. Yes. Do I think that's a bad thing? No, because every artist probably does that. Kendrick Lamar probably has, an artist, I think it was Thundercat, who, when they were working on To Pimp a Butterfly, would have ideas and then he'd be like, okay, I like this idea, let's build on it. That's what art is. You have an idea, another person has an idea, you build on it. Not everything he says 100% would be his words. I already knew that. I know that for many artists, I don't think any artist out right now or ever would have, every single word they say come from them. That's just stupid for you to believe that and very naive. So do I think he's a fraud on that? No. Do I accept that, yes, he did have some help writing some things? Of course. Do I admit that he had some help writing, producing tracks? Of course. Nobody is a completely, unique artist. And I will give people that if they want to use that as an argument or if they want to say this is what tarnishes his credibility. I still think, if it were to come out that all the themes and all the things he said about on his music were completely fabricated and he never lived through any of these experiences that he sang about, then I'd start being like, okay, yeah, Drake is a fraud or whatever. But if it's a few lines here and there, everybody does that. Let's be honest. Everybody, the credits are there for a reason. If you look through the credits of whatever artist, Kid Cudi, Jay-Z, Kendrick Lamar, you will see more than one individual there. Oftentimes, this other individual is the producer who often, can help an artist with the flow or can help an artist with certain words, placements, and so on and so forth. People get credited. Drake has credited the people he's worked with. The only time when it was a bit shady was with the Rico, where I don't think Quentin Miller was referenced. That is the only time I will say, okay, that I've seen so far where the person who created or was responsible for contributing to the sound wasn't credited. Do I think Quentin Miller should have been credited? Definitely. But I think the Drake slander, it's fun to slander somebody, but at a point it's like, why are you slandering this person? Why this person's success or popularity hurt you so much? Why? Is he doing something illegal? No. Is he killing everybody? And then going on to disses and why people often say, oh, he'll never diss Kendrick Lamar. Did you listen to the language? He's dissed Kendrick Lamar on a couple of songs, not just the language. I just can't remember the other song. But he's dissed Kendrick Lamar on the language. Everybody knew that at the time, but everybody overlooks it when they want to talk about, oh, he didn't diss Kendrick. Kendrick dissed him first, Kendrick, the first time with Control, that wasn't a diss in my opinion. If Drake took that personally, that's his business. But with the BET freestyle where he said, nothing was the same since we since Control dropped and we tucked a sensitive nigga back into his pajamas or something like that. That was a diss. Drake responded. Kendrick hasn't really made a dedicated diss track to Drake. He's made little subliminal references, what people believe to be references of Drake, but he's never really gone out and said, I'm talking to you, Drake, besides that one time with Control. And that wasn't really a diss. It was just like, step up your game. So moving on to Pusha T, he's responded to Pusha T. People saying Pusha T is going to ether him. I don't know. Pusha T is good with the words. He's a decent rapper. Is he going to ether Drake? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think Drake would go out and diss Pusha T if he didn't have a backup plan, if he wasn't confident in what he knows about Pusha T and how to respond to him. He's a very strategic person, and people often overlook the fact that he's still a good rapper no matter what you say. The only person would be Joe Budden, which he kind of ignited the beef. That was the one time where Drake was the aggressor because Joe Budden hadn't done anything in malice to him. I think his comments about the quality of views wasn't a diss. It was just, telling him to step up. So that was the only time, and he hasn't responded to 4 diss tracks from Joe Budden, which I've talked about as well. That's the only time I can concede and say Drake hasn't really responded to a diss. The other ones with Kendrick, Pusha T, Kid Cudi, Meek Mill, he's responded to all of them. But if I've overlooked someone, please let me know. And then, I can always, I'm not above mistake. I can always come back and say, yeah, I was wrong. He didn't respond to this person.